There we go. All right, we are live. We are live. Hey, everyone. This is our very first conversations for vitality with yours truly, James Gardner, and AJ, aka Ariel Jarvis, over there on the other side. All right. What is this, gang? Well, as you know, for those of you that are in this world, I've come into the Vitality Wellness World umbrella. This is about increasing people's health and wellness from the cell level out, and impacting their lives, their relationships, their everything. And what we thought we would do with Ariel and myself is we want to be of service for each and every one of you. And we thought we'd put together a weekly series where we get together every Wednesday, most likely at this time, which is 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're going to sit down. We're going to have discussions on health and wellness. We're going to talk about gut health. We're going to talk about all the services that Ariel does, her journey, incorporating a lot of plant-based modalities, cutting edge, state of the art science, updated and FDA approved testing, and also sitting down with peers, sitting down with colleagues, and just having a discussion of the current landscape that we see with people that are coming in that are looking for restorative health, are looking to kind of take back their wellness and live the life that we all are entitled to live. Right, Ariel? Does that sound good? Is that a good start off point?
Absolutely. We want to make sure we bring health to home because everybody deserves to have a healthy organism so that they can go and pursue their true passions in life and not be hindered by constantly being in and out of the hospital without any solutions.
That's right, and that's right. And I know that, and we're going to get into one of the main reasons why you've started this business, really getting into opening this company in particular as one of the founding owners, if you will. So Ariel, let's start with you for my community and those out there that are joining us daily, which is amazing. Joining our community. Let's have a quick overview of who Ariel Jarvis is.
Absolutely. I would be honored to share. So my name is Ariel Jarvis. I'm a natural health practitioner, herbalist, nutritionist, and acutherapist. I'm also fluent in ASL sign language. Now, the reason why I'm fluent in sign language is because I grew up in a household where I had a sister that went deaf at a very young age, my older sister. And throughout my young adult life, our entire family, each as an individual, got hit pretty hard with some health complications, which really impacted the whole family. And so we were all very ambitious. We did a lot of things on the side. However, we were always impacted by our health, which was starting to sabotage our growth. And so the medical system, unfortunately, wasn't the right tool because no one was getting better. Everyone was getting worse. They never talked about diet. They never talked about lifestyle. They never talked about water. And we just felt like we were spinning our wheels. And so I decided to start my journey and get the answers for myself so that I could recover myself, so that I could have the best health that I deserve, as well as potentially help my family. That's why I started. I started going to school in 2009. I graduated in 2019. I paid for all of my schooling myself, no government loans. I worked 3 jobs. And I look back and it grew me from being that young little girl who was homeschooled from kindergarten to grade 12 to being a worldwide leader. And here I now have 5 clinics with my partner, Beata Jaraba, who's not here today. And we are now franchising to bring health to home, to help every single person globally be able to understand how to rebuild the foundation on a cellular level, treat the root cause, but also have solutions so that you don't consistently go back to being unhealthy or unwell. And so it's not as complicated as we think. There are a lot of things that are overlooked. And so that's why I always start with the foundation. What does the cell need to thrive? If you can get one cell to do that, then you can duplicate it with the rest. You have 75 trillion cells. And every single cell has potential. If you were to look at it from a physicist, one cell has 0.7 millivoltage of energy. You have 75 trillion cells in the body. You times that by 0.7 millivoltage of energy, you are an atomic bomb. You have so much reactive potential energy to heal yourself. You just need the formula. And that's what we're here to help you with.
Great. And actually let's run with that, because I love the term formula. And one of the things that really attracted me to coming on board with this organization is that formula is based on the individual, is based on the DNA, the cellular blueprint of the individual, because the cookie cutter approaches do not work. They don't. We've seen it. We've seen it for years in performance sport, in the lab. Do this, lose weight. Do this, feel healthy. And from my journey, Ariel, as you know, as a high performance coach and athlete, I spend time in the lab working with athletes at a very high level. And that's where I first started to say, hey, athletes in general, what works for athlete A doesn't necessarily work for B. They have different adaptability rhythms. They have different responses to different physiological training stimuli, all of this. So, and even nutrition, right? How we process nutrition is different for you, different for me, Bob, Sally, doesn't matter. And that's what I love about what we're doing, because truly we're breaking it down to ultimately the cell of the individual.
And if you look at it in this term of perspective, every single person on the planet has a different DNA composement. And so how can one treatment work for all when we are all completely unique and different? All of our cells react differently and respond differently to stress. And there's so many different types of stressors. So how is it that one person will react the exact same way as another person? Doesn't matter if you even came from the same household. There's been so many studies to even prove this, that when twins are born, they could be identical twins. You can't even tell the difference on the outside, but yet they both have a different cellular response to food, to stress, to personality, things like that. So how is it that we would all respond the same way to, say, a medication or one specific blood type? A lot of people follow the blood type diet, but they don't correlate it with, well, what about if you're pregnant? What about if you just had surgery? What about if you just had a major grief or loss? Like there's so much, because emotional trauma gets stored in the body, creating underactive organs. So following a blood type diet might not be the best idea or solution for that person to reach optimal health. Individuals are very good at staying in survival mode, but very few actually get into that 1%, which is optimization. And that's what we do here with Vitality Wellness World. We have treated over 1,600 patients in 2 years. We've had 500 recoveries. Why? Because we customize every single program.
Can you share with our community a little bit of insight into some of those 500 patients that we've kind of restored a natural rhythm to their lives?
Absolutely. You look at their weak point. So what we do is we bring people in for a full health assessment. We assess their weaknesses. Everyone will have different weaknesses. You strengthen those weaknesses, so now it becomes their strength. And now the body can work in a state called homeostasis, where everything is taking equal parts of responsibility. If you don't, you have the domino effect. So if I were to treat someone for respiratory, it would be completely different than someone for joint pain, or someone for insomnia, or someone for schizophrenia, or someone for obesity, or someone for anorexia. Like there's so many different traits, and so many different characteristics. So how can one size fit all? And so at the end of the day, you have to have the fundamentals for the cell to thrive. You have to have the right water, the right diet for that cell at that state, at that stress response level, so that it can actually be bioavailable. If you are putting good stuff into the body and you're not absorbing, you're not going to recover. And then we also talk about building up those weaknesses using nutrition. Food is medicine, plant medicine. So we use over 300 Chinese herbs. We do a body scan. We take a look at your imbalances and your weaknesses and your inflammation and where it's, what area it's localized in. We take a look at microscopy, which is live blood and dry blood analysis. We actually extract your blood, look at it underneath a microscope, and compare it to what it's supposed to look like on a medical chart and where we need to go from there. If we don't collect data from you, we're guessing. If you don't have a target, where are you aiming?
Yeah.
And then what we do is then we tap into rehabilitation, right? When you break a bone, most bones will actually heal stronger than when they were when they broke. And so that's what we want to do. We want to make you stronger than when you came through our door.
Mm. And I think it's important to realize, we're not, every day forward, we're moving into an uncharted landscape with all our environmental influences, whether that's electromagnetic signals, whether that's pesticides, whether that's whatever. And so, the food we eat, the air we breathe, all of that is not our grandmother's landscape. And our cells have been greatly compromised and or altered, really. And so I think that's important that what we're saying in my layman's language is, you can walk into a supplement store and you can buy anything off the shelf and you can have the best intentions of the world. But if your sponge for absorbing and processing and delivering that isn't optimal, it's a waste of time, money, and right.
And
I mean, it is. Yeah.
A lot of people are stuck in the old way of thinking of, well, this is the way my grandparents ate and their grandparents and their grandparents. And just with the animal kingdom alone, if you don't adapt to your environment, your race dies. You can't repopulate with the same characteristics. You have to adapt. So yes, we might not be running for our lives anymore as cavemen from, different types of, animals like lions and bears and stuff like that. But we have other things that are put in place nowadays that are trying to kill us. And we have to pick our poison, don't pick too many, and don't do it too often in order for us to just be able to allow our cells to rotate and heal properly. Because if you have too much stress on the body can't keep up with those stressors, and the body becomes underactive, which makes you weak. And anything that's weak in the animal kingdom does not survive.
Right. And a big culprit of a lot of this is that word inflammation. Yeah. And all of these things and the stress that the cell undergoes is creating inflammation. And we know, even a non-rocket scientist here knows that inflammation causes a multitude of disease, organ failure, function, you name it, right?
Yep. And we'll definitely make a video on inflammation, but just to give you a little bit of perspective on inflammation, if you break it down to the very, very start of a particle level, inflammation is a positive charge. And so when you have too much positive in one area, that is called localized acidity. Think of acid, battery acid, right? What's that doing to your bones? What's that doing to your skin? If you put someone in a vat of acid, it would eat it alive. Well, what about what happens when you have too much acid in your kidneys, in your organs, in your stomach, in your muscle tissues? What's it going to do to the joints? What's it going to do to the bones? Now, the body always wants to recalibrate. Your bones are made up of minerals, which are alkaline. If you have too much acid on the outside of the bone, what will the bone do? It will leach minerals to balance out the pH, to buffer. What happens when you keep doing that? Eventually, the bone density decreases. You develop osteoporosis, joint pain, all kinds of fun stuff, bursitis, fraying of the bones, breaking of the bones, brittle bones. So what if we were to take a step back and just treat the inflammation? Well, how do you treat the inflammation? You balance out the positive and negative charge. Well, how do you do that? What is negative charge? How do you put out a fire?
Water.
Water. So I challenge you, if you have any inflammation at home, start by drinking 1 liter of water. Every 50 pounds you weigh, you need to drink 1 liter. So if you weigh 100 pounds, that's 2 liters. 150 pounds, that's 3 liters. 200 pounds, that's 4 liters. And then make sure it's negatively charged. And what you can do is you can go on Amazon and buy an ORP meter. It's a little tube. You test your water at home. If it has a positive millivoltage, you're in trouble. If it has a negative millivoltage, now we're talking. I only drink negative voltage water, and it's changed my life. I use it on all my patients. That's why we have recoveries, because we neutralize that acid. We treat the root cause.
Yeah, we hear that acidosis, that acid word thrown out a lot, especially in the sports arenas when we're trying to strive for that alkalinity, that alkaline environment. I mean, that is the beauty of a predominantly plant-based diet, is it brings more alkalinity in, and kind of finds that balance. So Ariel, moving forward, what we'd like to do. So I think next week we're going to kick this off. We're going to talk gut health, right? We're going to jump in.
Yes, let's do it.
And talk about gut health, because truly, the gut does in fact hold the key. The gut is the gateway to wherever we want to go, wherever our patients want to go, really, right?
And I love analogies, you guys, because I think they're helpful for me. So I'm hoping they'll be helpful for you. If you have a little kid riding a bike for the first time without training wheels, what do you put on their head? A helmet. To protect what? To protect the brain. Why? Because of the neurons. Did you know there's more neurons in your gut than in your brain? Why are we not protecting what we put in our gut? We treat it like a garbage can. It's like banging your head against the concrete floor every day and not expecting a concussion. Did you know that that's where your serotonin is made?
I did know that. And I also know that 70-80% of your immune system is from the gut.
In your gut. And that all of your vitamins and minerals are absorbed in the intestinal system, but only if it's in an alkaline state.
Right.
If it's in an acidic state, you have no bioavailability, which we're going to get into in the next video. But I'm just giving you some little nuggets to kind of, encourage you to be mindful about certain things you're putting in your body.
Yeah, I love gut health. I have a dear friend and client of mine, former client, who just moved to South Africa. Her name is Sue Potgieter. This is what she does. She's a gut health specialist over in the UK. Now she lives in South Africa. We used to talk for hours about the gut health. I just love it. It's like I put my geeky hat on and off we go to the races. Ariel, before we tie this up, because I do know that you have a client coming in, Kim actually has a great question on the feed, and she said, "How do you change the charge of the water?" Now I know from my athletic days, always trying to get an edge, I'd throw some baking soda in there. To buffer the lactic acid production in my body. But what can you offer Kim for that?
So a lot of people were doing the baking soda because the analogy is, yes, the baking soda does buffer up the water to make it more alkaline, but that is called inorganic. The body wants organic alkaline, not inorganic compounds. And so you don't want to add anything to the water. You just want to reconfigure the cluster. If you have your oxygen and your 2 hydrogen, it's a triangle, okay? And there's polar bonds and there's a whole lot of molecular energy that's happening. If you actually break that with energy and reconfigure it, now you have a bunch of electrons that are free floating that want to pair up with protons to balance out the acid. So now you went from having this beautiful H2O to having a bunch of electrons that want to pair up, which is good because they're going to find the acid in your body and neutralize it. So the way that you want to change the electronegativity of your water is not by adding any inorganic compounds. It's by changing the cluster through energy. So we do it through a type of machine. The water goes through a filter, goes through 8 metal plates. Each plate has the 230 watts of energy that actually split the atoms, and then they reconfigure them so that they are the perfect cluster for your mitochondria to absorb. Because you face it, guys, positively charged water does not go into the cell because cells have a charge, and the outside of the outside of the cell is positive. If you naturally just try to force two magnets together that are positive and positive, they're not going to go in. They're not going to attach. They're going to repel. That's just magnetism.
Yeah.
So what about if you have a positive, the outside of the shell is positive and you have water that's positive, you're never going to absorb. So then what's going to happen to the inside of the cell? You're going to have something called mitochondrial dysfunction, which is the root of every single disease and acidic condition.
Mm-hmm. And the mitochondria is the powerhouse. It's the powerhouse.
Yeah.
It is what drives us forward at the cellular level.
The ability to convert ATP, which is energy. So if you can't convert ATP, the lights don't go on. Right?
You got to pay your bills by learning what to eat and how to set yourselves up for success. And great segue, because that's what this is going to do, or we trust that it will do for you, is each and every week is to share some insights, share some cutting edge science, some conversation, it's going to be everything, testimonials, like I said, peers, colleagues, all in the name of just all of us living a better life that we're entitled to.
We want to give you all the secrets so that you can go live your best life. We're humanitarians. We're not here to really gain much from this. We just want to share. We have had tremendous success with recoveries, and we just feel that people need to stop suffering.
Absolutely. And next week, gang, at the same time, we're going to start this conversation off with a little bit of gut health, and we're going to start this journey together.
Get your notepads ready.
I know. Get your notepads ready. All right, Ariel, thanks for joining us. Thank you all. Please, if you find this at all valuable, interesting, like, share, send it around. We're trying to build this community and help everyone. All right. Mad love to the courageous. We'll talk to you all soon.